Exactly 162 years ago today, the Battle of Gettysburg began. And today we're going to talk about the second day, the defense of Little Round Top. Little Round Top is a hill just on the outside of Gettysburg, and I call this hill the hill that slavery died on. Welcome to Let's Talk Slots. Going to play some Firecracker Fortunes here. Might be a little loud. We'll see what the... Should be good. All right, so welcome to Let's Talk Slots. It's Tail Tuesday, and we're going to talk about the Battle of Gettysburg. Train, come on, pop. Specifically, the second day, the defense of Little Round Top. And we're here at the Harrah's in Kansas City. This machine has a lot of firecrackers, so there'll be a lot of firecrackers going off in the background. And that's the way I kind of wanted it, because this is a discussion about a battle. So this story starts with in the beginning, or in the early June, in the early month of June, General Lee decided that who was the Confederate leader of the Confederate Army, he was looking to relieve some pressure in Virginia and also on the Western Front. And so, this might be a little too loud, even for me. And so he basically went around the Union Army into Pennsylvania. And really his goal was to demoralize the North, and hopefully demoralize the North so much that they would want to basically end the war, and Lee could sue for peace. But not Lee, but the Confederates, the rebels, could sue for peace. And the whole idea was that General Lee of the Confederate Rebel Army, he believed that that they couldn't win a long, protracted war against the North, because the North had industry, they had more money, and they had more people. And so he just thought if he could give a decisive blow to the Union Army in Northern Territory, it would destabilize the North into wanting to actually settle and maybe just create two different countries. So that was kind of their plan. And so the two armies meet up in Gettysburg. And the first day, the Union Army basically gets trounced and pushed back by the rebels. And they create a defensive perimeter, of which the left side of the formation is Round Top, and then there's a little hill next to it called Little Round Top. And then before I make this next statement, I kind of got to go back in history. I'm just now joined by my buddy here, who we just did a group poll, which won't come out for like another week and a half.
Yeah.
But we did a group poll.
And we did well.
And we did well. So I'll tell the story like I'm telling it to you.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Good.
So we got to go back in history to understand my next statement that I'm about to make.
Okay.
So do you know why? It's fortuitous that you're here, because this is really a question.
Okay.
Do you know why the most senior member of the military always is on the right side of the formation? Other than it's just tradition.
No, but I'm sure you're about to tell me.
Yes. I have the facts. In fact, when I was in basic training, they asked that question in basic training at the end, and everyone kept giving answers that were wrong. Oh, we need that train.
Come on.
Oh, it didn't pop. And okay, so it dates back to the Greek phalanx. Okay, so the Greek phalanx, the soldiers had their shield in their left hand and their spear in their right hand. Come on, I want to pop that train once. I don't know what it does. I think there's a demo screen, and it shows like a nine slot.
It's a feature.
It's a feature. Come
That's
on.
a roll train and all three.
Oh, come on.
All right, you got my curiosity. Finish telling me what it is.
See, there's people that have comment like, you need to stop telling stories while you're playing because you get interrupted by the machine. Well, anyway, so you're in the Greek phalanx, which I'll show a picture of, which, speaking of which, I need some space here so I can start showing some images. So there, edit it. Now I have space to show some images up over here somewhere. Anyway, so the Greek phalanx, shield left hand, spear right hand.
Okay.
And what happens is that when you're fighting against somebody in the phalanx, an inexperienced soldier will try and put the enemy on their shield side. So they will naturally drift to the right. So you put your most experienced soldiers on the right-hand side.
Okay.
So they march forward because they lean back into the formation to make sure they're marching forward and not leaning to the right, because there's a natural drift, because inexperienced soldiers will want to put their shield between them and the enemy.
Okay.
So you put your most experienced soldiers on the right side to make sure that everybody goes exactly where they're supposed to in a straight line.
So you said most experienced.
Yes.
Does that mean higher ranking?
Usually.
Okay. All right.
And it also too, like I was an officer in the field artillery. When you do a formation switch, when the commander goes up to the front of the formation,
Yeah.
all the lieutenants that are in charge of the platoon, they go to the right side to go to the front of the formation. And the senior NCO, non-commissioned officer, goes to the left side. So your most experienced, highest ranking individual is on the right side.
Okay.
But if you expand that out, you want your most experienced, best fighters to have their right hand free. So you'd want your most experienced fighters on the right side.
Because most of them are right-handed.
Because most of them are right-handed. So in large-scale battlefield tactics, your right side is usually your maneuver side, and your left side is your defense side.
Okay.
Even stepping further back out to a full formation of 40,000 people, doesn't matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter how big it is. And you can look at things like when Alexander the Great was fighting Darius in the Battle of Gaugamela,
Okay.
or however it's pronounced, Gaugamela. His right flank pushed into Darius's left flank, because they're inverse. The left flank is against the right flank of the other side on two opposing sides. So his right flank beat Darius's left flank minutes before his left flank started to fall.
Oh.
And so he won the battle because Darius had to flee because his left flank faltered. And then Alexander had to turn around and actually help his left flank by minutes. So literally it's like minutes separated who was going to win that battle.
Wow.
And so what it comes down to is how long can your left side hold
until the right side's able to come help.
Right, until the right side's either able to come and help,
Yeah.
or you just hold that left position, because the left side is almost always against the best fighters on the opposite side.
Okay.
Right. So the reason I said that is because, come on, is this next statement makes sense?
Okay.
So Colonel Chamberlain in the 20th Maine, they were tasked with holding the extreme left.
Okay.
So what that means in layman's terms, if you're a commander and you hear that you're on the left, generally speaking, you're the defensive force. You are the defensive force. And if you fail, then what happens is the army, the opposing army on their right side will sweep you and flank your whole entire position. So your left flank has to hold in order for you to win the battle, by and large. And so since day 2, the Union Army, their whole thing was to just be in a defensive position because they lost day 1. The whole goal of the Confederate Army was to basically outflank the Union Army and push them from the right and then sweep them all the way across. And then they would have decimated the Union Army.
Sounds like the game of Risk.
Yeah, can be.
Oh, you
hey, double pop.
Charge and blast feature.
All right, we'll get back.
I hear the train in there.
We need to land the train. All right. Oh, it just goes on its own. It's like I ain't waiting for nothing. Just go.
You are now obsolete.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
What are you doing? Oh, don't do that.
Launch that golden rocket.
Okay.
Okay, it helped you out.
I was wondering.
So what are the colors? Multipliers?
Yeah, if you fill up the whole multiplier, it multiplies everything in there. So you got to fill up the whole color.
Okay.
Come on, save it.
Oh,
okay.
Save before you again.
That's good. So that's what blast is. It must be.
So if you open up two more, then you get those up there.
Yeah, it goes up higher.
Okay. That thing ain't
Come on,
being.
save it. There we
there's
go.
one.
There we go.
Come on.
All right. Nice.
Oh, so one more opens up the next one.
Yeah, because we already had a lot on the second one. All right.
I heard it.
And fifth.
Very nice.
Man.
Well, all right.
Oh, you're on nickels too.
I am on nickels because that's the #1 bet. If you haven't seen my video, actually, this one's coming out today. So
Yeah.
Woohoo! Golden Rocket.
nickels is the best denomination according to the Missouri Gaming Commission for Harrah's in Kansas City. They break it down by casino. Come on, anywhere, save it. Come on, save it. Save it.
Come on.
Rocket.
Yeah, rocket.
Times.
Oh, so that one did come up times
That one did
two.
come up 2
Okay.
times. Uh-oh.
Oh, gotta
That's
get off
way
of
up
that.
there. Gosh, that's way up there.
It's a big machine.
It is a very big machine.
Nice job.
It's a whole lot of noise for $57.
Yeah? But hey, it's better than no noise and no
getting
bucks.
nothing.
No
That's
noise
right.
and no bucks is worse. So, Colonel Chamberlain
Okay.
was stationed to the extreme left, and he was ordered to hold his position to the last man because the Confederate Army kept moving to the right, moving to the right. They went through Round Top, which is the big hill, and then they got to Little Round Top, and they put up a hasty defensive position on Little Round Top. So the 20th Maine, which consisted of I think 537 soldiers, give or take,
Right.
was basically instructed to hold was instructed to hold about a 100-yard segment on the extreme left of Little Round Top, 3 deep, 100 yards wide, essentially, give or take.
Right.
Which, for those of you that don't use the imperial system, that's about 91 meters. Hey, there are 2 types of countries in the world: those that use the metric system and those that have been to the moon.
That's right.
So, sorry. Anyway, so they position themselves on the extreme left, and then the Confederates continue to drift to the right to try and get around the flank. And so, in order to understand this next part, you kind of have to understand what the standard issue for Union soldiers was.
All right.
So they typically had 40 to 60 shots,
Okay.
and are able to basically, on average, have 50 shots per engagement.
And that's the old musket type.
That's the old musket type where you have
guns.
the musket. And I'll show a picture. This picture is, here. They basically have to, reload these and hold their position. But it's slow going. So if you are the quickest in the world, you can shoot maybe 3 shots per minute.
Oh.
But on average, it's, a shot a minute.
Okay.
And the engagements are 10 to 15 minutes, and then they pull back, 10 to 15 minutes, and they pull back, right? So what happens is the Confederates get to Little Round Top, and they go up the hill, and they meet the defensive position of the 20th Maine. And there's a slight skirmish. The Maine boys push them back, but the Union, they're outnumbered 2 to 1. So there's approximately 1,000 soldiers coming up this hill trying to outflank Colonel Chamberlain. So after an intense push, the rebels are pushed back. They go down the hill, they regroup, they resupply, and then they come back up the hill. Meanwhile, the 20th Maine, they use up some of their ammo. So and I'm making these numbers up. So let's say they started with 50, now they're down to 40.
Okay.
Please pop it. Ah. So now they're down to 40. And the Union moves a little bit, or the Confederates, the rebel army, they move a little to the right. They push back up the hill. And, hey, popped it again. We'll get back to this shortly.
Yeah, it makes it tough with such a big machine.
Yeah. It just goes.
Yeah.
I love how it just goes on its own. It's like we gotta start this feature.
Whether you're ready or not.
Yeah. We didn't get the blast this time.
That's the rocket that comes up.
I don't know if the rocket is just part of this or if it's part of blast. Save it. I hope there's a rocket. Hey, it's part of this.
Golden rocket.
Oh, nice. Okay, 2 more. So blast was just the colored spaces.
For
multiplication.
the multipliers.
Yeah. And then strike is the bird that flies across and gives more money. Save it.
Come on, rocket.
Rocket. Hey. And we got the next one.
Yep, it opens it up.
All right, we only need 2 more for that third one. All right, 1 more. Rocket me. Come on, rocket.
Golden rocket.
There we go.
That's got to be charged.
Yeah.
See how the bear comes charging? I don't know. That sounds right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are rules that we could read.
Only nerds read rules.
That's right.
I don't know how I'm gonna get that 4th reel when we open it.
Yeah. You can back up.
Come on, open up the 4th reel. I want that problem. I'm gonna have to figure out how to record that 4th reel.
Uh-oh. 7
Got it.
more.
Come on. Save it. Rocket. Oh, hey, rocket. I saw the mini. I don't know what the mini is.
25
Oh,
bucks.
25 bucks. It's way up there.
Yeah, it's on the ceiling
Yeah.
up there.
I've got a neck injury, so this isn't good to look
Yeah.
that high. Come on, save it.
There you go. 4 more.
Come on, save it. Golden rocket. Save it. Rocket. Ah, it's not bad. Way up there. Oh, it does speed up.
Hey, that was more than your 57 bucks.
Yeah.
Big win. Chugga choo choo.
All right, not bad. All right, so we got back most of what we lost. All right, so the Confederate rebel army, they go down, they regroup, they move a little to the right, and they come back up the hill. And again, the Union Army pushes them back. And so now they're down to maybe 30 rounds, and the rebels go back down to the bottom of the hill, they regroup, they resupply, then they come back up, moving a little further to the right. So at this point, Chamberlain's only holding about 100 yards, give or take. And at this point, he realizes that they're getting too far to his left. So he has to divide his line into 2, take half of his soldiers and make a second line at a 90-degree angle. So he basically cuts his army in half. So when they were defending this position, now they're defending twice as much space with half as much men, essentially, right? And the Confederates come back up, and they get pushed back, but they notice that the Union Army is starting to conserve their rounds, so they're not shooting back as much.
Okay.
So then they begin to push a little further, and some of the line actually starts doing some hand-to-hand combat, and the Union Army pushes them back. So they go back down the hill, they resupply, regroup, move a little further to the right, and push up again. And so by now, the Union Army has maybe half their rounds, and they're still starting to they're starting to get more and more into hand combat because they're not keeping up as much fire as they should because they're trying to conserve rounds. So eventually they get to the point to where they're really low on ammo. And the Confederates, the rebels, they realize this, so they push into the line and they just go into hand-to-hand combat. So it's just an all-out brawl up and down the line. And
they have their bayonets and all that other stuff?
yes,
Okay.
some of them do, but not yet. We'll get to that.
Not yet.
Yeah. So let's say there's maybe 10 rounds left, and the Union Army pushes the Confederates back, and they go back down the hill, they resupply, and they regroup. And at this point, it's like, okay, well, we've only got like 10 rounds left, right? So he's trying to scavenge as much bullets as he can. He's asking other units for help. And because it was a hasty defensive position, and they're at the top of a hill, they can't get resupplied. So there's no resupply coming. There's no one else. There's no more reinforcements. And so he's trying to do everything he can to get more rounds, get more bullets. And then the rebels come back up again, come back up the hill. And this time they're like, oh, this is great, because the Union eventually runs out of bullets and they're just standing there. And so the Confederates shoot all their bullets and then they charge into the line again, and it's just an all-out brawl. So it's hand-to-hand combat. But the Union holds, but now the Confederates know they're out of bullets. So they go back down the hill, resupply, regroup, and they're like, okay, this is our final push because they're out of bullets. They can't shoot us. So we're gonna stand there and shoot them. And when we run out of bullets, then we're gonna charge, right? So Colonel Chamberlain is in this position where I don't think anyone would have blamed him if he retreated, because he has no more bullets. His men are injured, and they're just gonna basically have to stand there while the enemy shoots at him. But he decides, I can't run away, right? I can't stand here and just get shot at. So instead, he does the craziest thing possible, and outnumbered 2-1, he orders his soldiers to fix their bayonets. And he charges into the enemy.
Okay.
So they come back up the hill a final time, knowing that they're out of bullets, thinking, oh, this is gonna be easy. We're gonna go up there, we're gonna shoot a bunch, and then we're gonna take the hill, right? This is the rebels' final push. And instead what they see is a whole unit of people running at them with bayonets.
Oh, wow.
And so they panic and they think, well, they must have been reinforced, because what kind of idiot would charge into an enemy that's twice their size? And it surprises them so much, they just surrender. They get the Confederates surrender.
Come on.
Got it again, yeah.
Charge feature.
Charge. This is one of those high bonus frequency games.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it. Come on, save it. Save it. Oh, I got 2 more spins. But yeah, so I was, hey, minor. Minor.
Minor.
Minor.
The yellow one.
This one's yellow, yeah.
$50.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right.
There you go. A mini started on that.
Nice.
Double rockets.
Double rockets. All right, there we go. All right. You got kind of a clean slate up there. Start landing them on the 3rd reel.
Yeah.
9 is kind of a tall order. Come on, save it.
Well, unless you got 9 rockets.
Yeah, rocket.
That's kind of a tall order, too.
It's not bad, though. All right.
Hey, there you go. So I kind of beat you to your story by bringing up bayonets. I didn't realize that was part of it.
Yeah. All right, got almost all my money back. I started with 200. So they were, because the far right, which was the maneuver force of the Confederates, the rebel army, because they surrendered, that basically they lost the initiative. And so that basically turned the tide of the battle. So the first day the Confederates were winning, the second day the Union Army was able to hold, which then on the 3rd day the Confederates had to make a desperate one last push up the center, which basically ended up with it's called Pickett's Charge, where General Pickett's men was basically just decimated. Come on, pop it. He had almost no unit like when that battle was done, because they charged up the middle, which was just suicide. So I call Little Round Top the hill that slavery died on, because that was the last chance that the Confederate Army had to demoralize the North. And after Gettysburg, they also lost on the Western Front as well. So I think it was General Meade was making his way up the Mississippi River.
Okay.
And so the Western Front was starting to fall for the Confederate Army. So this was the nail in the coffin on this hill, was their last chance to sort of beat the Union Army.
Wow.
And from that point on, General Lee never had the initiative and was on the back foot, which eventually they ended up, having to surrender. But yeah, so I call Little Round Top the hill that slavery died on.
All right.
So yeah. Well, I'm gonna cut this off in like one more spin, or we'll do the 175. Oh wait, no, 1775. You know,
Yeah.
1776 was technically when we declared independence.
There
so
you go. Leave
there
it.
we go. Yeah, 1775. So yeah. Anyway, appreciate if you like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.